Joseph.
I'm Nick.
Oh, and this is Fish Jelly.
It is.
How are you?
You know, it's hard out here for a pimp.
Well, you know what? Perfect timing. So, well, actually, let me save it because I need to look up something. But
Oh,
today's Mother's Day.
exactly. Exact thematic.
Yep. Well, there's a lot happening. But before I do any of and then the cat showed up. Oh,
As she's wont to do.
we would like to say thank you to everyone who continues to support the podcast. People are sponsoring us on Spotify. You can give as little as 99 cents a month. People are sending us lovely gifts. We just had a lovely lunch at PF Chang's yesterday, thanks to a listener, viewer. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
P.O. Box is in the description.
And thanks to our moms.
And then thanks to our moms for birthing us, I suppose. Although I didn't ask to be born.
I didn't either.
And I'm ready to die.
So, you know what? Take that right back. Snatch it back.
Yeah. Can I go back where I came from? I'm not going to go on a rant about how I hate holidays, but I do hate holidays. It's particularly like Mother's and Father's Day and Valentine's Day and Christmas. Halloween, I think, can be fun because you don't have to participate. But I just think like today's Mother's Day, and it's like for the people who either don't have good relationships with their mothers or their mothers have passed,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's like a triggering time. And then everyone feels obligated to do something. We were at the grocery store last night, and just every person trying to buy a card and a flower and a balloon.
These expensive ass orchids.
And then I read an article about how like people in the restaurant industry, like Mother's Day is like the day they dread the most. For reasons that are probably obvious, but it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I just think if you have a relationship with someone like Valentine's Day, you should probably show them you love them more than like it should be a regular thing so that Valentine's Day there's not all this pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it's not February. You're also leaving for Cannes today.
Yes.
Which is in France.
Yeah.
For those who, because sometimes I forget.
For those who needed the extra orientation.
Well, I know that Cannes is in France, but I always forget. I mix up France and Italy. Like I mix up whether you're going to Cannes or Venice.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the difference because France is a boot.
Italy's a boot.
What? Oh. So I did mess it up.
Wow. Yeah, Italy's the boot, which makes it sounds like I'm Canadian right now. A boot.
Is there anything you'd like to say
about what, moms and shit?
No, about going to Cannes.
Oh, well, I'm excited for the plane. I'm excited for the flight to be over, both of them, and to get to my little Airbnb where I can relax and this ticketing system shit is exhausting.
And for those of us who have to watch you try to get tickets, it's exhausting. So I'm going to make a plea to the organizers of the Cannes Film Festival. Get your shit together because I'm tired of hearing this man moan and groan at 10 p.m. trying to get tickets.
When I get there, it'll be at 7 a.m. But, usually by the fourth or fifth day, and again, this is born out of the pandemic where every screening had to be ticketed, including press screenings. And which is, like communism, a great idea potentially, but the shit is that they can't get it to work in practice, apparently. Anyway, yeah.
We were also featured on the Diagnosing Sitcoms and Movie podcast. For people who don't know, I'm going to read their little description. Each episode, we take a deep dive into Black television shows and films to give our clinical opinion on characters, behaviors, and just kick it with you to help expand the conversation around mental health. So both of them are licensed therapists. Very funny, very smart, very insightful. We did an episode where we talk about Hustle and Flow, the 2005 film directed by
Craig Brewer.
I really enjoyed doing it,
and
I hope they want to do something else. But for people who are interested, I'll put a link in the description of this episode. There's the podcast, and they made a video of us. So if you want to see all of our faces, I suggest clicking on that as well. But moving on, I only have one silly article to talk about.
Oh, we're not talking about the writer's strike?
Oh, I don't have enough information to say anything. Do
Oh,
you? I
uh,
don't even know what it's about, even though literally it's across the street from our house and I see them picketing every day. I haven't thought to figure out why.
well, there's a couple. I am not terribly well versed, so this will be brief. But talking about the the mini room concept, where basically they're forcing studios can force a flurry of activity to be for everything to get done, and so that the last couple of weeks of a production there won't be any screenwriters on set,
Oh,
and cutting down on the number of writers, uh, and then this business with AI.
oh. Well, again, I don't know anything about it, but I do support people trying to get their money. So anyone trying to get their
No,
money.
but I think it's since it seems to be kind of dragging on. I think the rumblings I've heard that the the studios are kind of playing games and not being serious, and they might not. I've talked to a couple of people that think that the strike might end up screwing over writers.
Well, I was going to say, I also, employers have a right to handle their business how they want to, and it could backfire on them or the other. But again, I don't know enough, but I definitely, it seems serious for me because I see it every day for the past week, and it's not, it's not thinning out. Like these people are out there, so
Hmm.
it seems serious.
I don't know. Again, it's like I thought there was a point where it seemed like the studio system was done, but I feel like Hollywood is the only we're still dependent on that system, and why doesn't something else try to be constructed?
I do feel like when it comes to strikes, so you think like a teacher strike, that has a huge impact,
Mhm.
right? I mean, it's education, but also like for a lot of parents, they
Sure.
use school as daycare. So they have a very strong interest in resolving this. So I feel like people, whereas something like this, particularly for someone like me who watches hundreds of films, most of which are not that great, to me is like, well, seems like half the shit I'm watching, who was writing the shit? That's a so. I mean, I don't know what the effect is of not having writers, like how everyone's striking. It's not like when the Metro Transit
Mhm.
employees strike and now the buses are down. That has like a real impact. But the writers on strike, I don't know, like if we're gonna see the impact of that. So I don't know how much strength they have. Like the studios seem like they have um more to play with because it's really not impacting them the way
Right.
that when the culinary union goes on strike in Vegas, I mean shit shuts down and they're
Mhm.
losing money. In this instance, I don't know how bad the studios are being affected, and based on the quality of a lot of stuff, I feel like y'all could have a dog and a cat and the AI do it and it'd be the same quality. But
Well, certainly with majority of these Marvel films, I feel like that might as well be AI because it's all formula anyway.
but
So
that sounds horrible, and I'm not trying to minimize people's. I mean, there are people out there fighting the good fight for whatever they think they're fighting for. So good for them. But
no, but it might. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see how it all plays out. But it just might be a reminder that we need to develop a new way to make films and fund films, like a lot of other countries do, subsidized through government funding or something that is a different way than depending on these glossy Hollywood studios that really don't care about good storytelling in the first place. It's a business model.
there's some notable birthdays today. Kate
Oh,
Blanchett,
oh. Hey, Kate.
Robert Zemeckis,
Oh yeah,
Tim Roth.
yeah.
Do you like Tim Roth?
I've heard he's difficult, but yeah, I
He's in a
like
movie I liked recently, Resurrection.
yeah with Rebecca Hall.
Um,
Very sinister.
Shawnice, her birthday's today. We know her. She's a singer. Her most popular song is "I Love Your Smile." Dun, dun,
Oh,
dun,
yeah.
dun, dun, dun.
Okay.
She's also married to Flex Mitchell, who's a comedian who I'm sure you'd recognize. And
Yes.
he is in his 50s and looks fantastic. So I don't know what preservatives he's taking. And
Speaking of, but I don't know what preservatives Ms. Roman is taking. Tammy Roman.
well, Tammy, girl, you need to stop smoking those cigarettes because the Miss Pat show is becoming one of my favorites. But yeah, just watching her from season 1 to season 3 is like, oh,
Oh, there's a marked difference between the seasons?
yeah, like, well, I mean, she does smoke a lot, and I'm assuming being on TV has caused her to want to keep her weight down. So of course that affects our
Oh, yeah.
facial features. But yeah, stop smoking.
And being blonde,
I don't,
I
you
don't
know, I
mm,
don't, I don't hate it on her, but
uh,
the wig is the least of my problems with her. She needs to stop smoking. But anyway, the story I was going to read. So the headline says, "Say what now? Dead body found inside freezer at Arby's restaurant in Louisiana." So
mm,
in New Iberia, Louisiana, the body of a woman was found in the freezer. But and
they do have the meats, huh?
there are very little details, but the thing that made me laugh a lot is that the lead homicide investigator was quoted as saying that he hasn't found any signs of foul play.
Huh? Okay.
There is a woman's body in the Arby's freezer. Isn't that foul play in itself?
Is she suicided in the Arby's freezer or
Oh, maybe that's, I don't know. It's just when I read it, I thought, I don't think anything about this doesn't seem strange, but maybe that's probably what you said is like foul play means like they don't think this person was murdered per se.
it was an accidental
Like, is it
death?
anyway?
Okay.
That's very random. Lastly, RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 8 premiered.
It sure did.
I don't know that I want to talk about All Stars or Drag Race on the podcast again, but I feel like we should at least mention. Um,
Well, there's at least 2 people that I don't care for
well,
whatsoever.
then let's quickly talk about like
Ugh.
one word reactions from you about the cast: Alexis Michelle,
Okay.
Darian Lake,
I like Darian.
Heidi in Closet,
Entertaining. I wish he was smarter.
James Mansfield,
It's nice to see him shine.
Jessica Wilde,
Oh, I love Jessica. Yeah.
Jimbo,
Jimbo creeps me out. And not because he's innovative and creative, but there's something about him that makes me uncomfortable.
Kahana Montrese,
Beautiful gowns, a nice new everything. Let's hope she can make that work.
Candy Muse,
Candy Muse. Ugh, God.
Lala Ree,
I like Lala Ree.
Mrs. Kasha Davis,
Nice to see.
Naisha Lopez,
Well, I'm glad to be gone already.
and Monica Beverly Hills.
Who, oh my God, I keep calling Santa Monica Beverly Hills, but
And then I started calling Century City.
Century City Beverly Hills. Poor thing. I think that she just wasn't. I just don't think she's a performer for a television reality show. I think that
Yeah, she's not built for competition reality
no,
TV.
and that's okay. I don't know.
Uh,
She just doesn't seem interested in doing a lot of things. Again, which is fine. But
I don't care for Naisha Lopez. I'm so tired of these queens who like they talk about they're the most beautiful, they're the best body, and you're literally standing next to people who, if we want to play that game, are more beautiful than you and have better bodies. So how about we stop saying things like that?
well, it's because it's toxic because one, that's a toxic game to play, and two, it's just like when you have to say it.
Well, I just think it's a character. So why don't you speak about your character in a way that's fun and flirty and like, my drag character sexy and whatever. But the way they talk like they're so fierce, and she's the worst one. I can't stand her. I really like Mrs. Kasha Davis. Lala Ree's fun, but I really do think Lala looks like Holiday Heart.
Oh,
Her makeup's terrible and her wig game is terrible. Candy Muse, I can't stand. And it just has made all the more annoying by her speaking voice. And I know people don't like my speaking voice, but this lady sounds like she's chewing on her own
I
tongue.
think lots of people like your speaking voice, but can it's not how Candy speaks or looks that's my problem with her. It's her attitude is I don't know. I just find her kind of unpleasant.
Kahana Montrese has all new everything, like you said. She had like eyebrow lift, nose job, BBL, liposuction, all new teeth. In drag, she looks like, oh my god, the cat is terrorizing us.
Um,
She
I
looks amazing in drag.
I did I didn't remember her really at all from her season.
No, you didn't. But yeah, she's She's been performing the past like year and a half on RuPaul's Drag Race live in Las Vegas at the Flamingo or the Hilton something. Um, and she definitely is like a professional drag queen now. I
Mhm.
mean, everything is like top, top, top.
Mhm.
Although I'm getting tired of this breastplate, and we're only in episode 2.
Well, because they don't look real.
No, it's too much. Uh, yeah, Jimbo creeps me out. It's fun seeing Jessica Wilde. I
Mhm.
really like her drag is really great, and she has a fun personality
Mhm.
in and out of drag.
Mhm.
And I know her first season 13 years ago, her English wasn't the best, so she was self conscious about it. But now it seems like that's not an issue at all. So I hope she goes far. I really like James Mansfield. I watch his YouTube channel.
Mhm.
He just seems like a really sweet guy who went home first on his season and everyone made fun of him. And now he's pretty successful. Like he has his own business, he does wigs.
My memories of him from his first season where they every now and then they seem to do this thing. It's like they like to choose somebody to be the runt and then pick them off.
Yes,
And
yes.
they did that in Holland with Love My Sissy.
Yeah, yeah.
Where it's just like, stop telling this person that they're not loving themselves enough or look uncomfortable. It's like, I, I, because it wasn't coming across necessarily in the edit, I guess. But it's just like, why don't you just shut the fuck up and let the person be, and then eliminate them if you don't like them. Like, to me, that's playing mind games with somebody that is unnecessary. Like,
I think hiding in closets amusing. She has a podcast with Jada Essence Hall that sometimes I watch, but only because they'll have guests I like. Listening to them talk between the two of them is not that appealing to me. And I do think she's humorous.
she is.
I do wish she were maybe a little more intelligent sometimes. I mean, coming from me, uh, I like Darian Lake
Hmm.
and Alexis Michelle. Wow, like the transformation.
Very polished.
Yeah,
The
his
one
drag is like very, very polished.
the one thing was just like the in his confessional that he's admitted to an attraction to Lala Ryu, which is like,
Yeah, right away he says he's attracted to another contestant. I don't know if that's smart.
I mean, what isn't that the secret? Put it out there in the universe, but you don't
Okay,
have to
but that's
put
your
it. But
coworker.
well, this is your coworker, but
It's
you don't
unprofessional.
have to put it out to us. You can get that
Also,
meant.
his hair situation, he's balding, but his pattern of baldness is in the back. So he's basically bald everywhere except his front hairline, which is, lucky, I guess, because if you people only look at you from the front because he grows his hair long in the front, but it looks like he has like a wave on his head.
Hmm.
I really don't like that.
Well, he must do that for attachment of the hair, right? To
Well,
for wigs.
yes, and so that's why a lot of drag queens out of drag look kind of severe or augmented because, a lot of them shave the side of their head because it's just easier to adhere the wig and the
Hmm.
tape, and they don't have to, because a lot of them have to cover it up. The same
Hmm.
way you cover up your eyebrows with glue and concealer, you have to do your side hairline. So if you shave it off, that's one less step. But then out of drag, you look crazy. A lot of them shave their eyebrows. A lot of them get filler, and which
Hmm.
looks great in drag, but out of drag, it's a sacrifice for your craft.
Drag is, violence to your body.
It is. So that's why I appreciate it so much because it really is a commitment
It's a commit. It is an art. It is a commitment. It is not uh, dangerous though
to children.
to children. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're on a time crunch.
Uh,
Films released we didn't cover Fool's Paradise.
oh God, I hated this. I didn't put you through it because I didn't want to put myself through it again. But I saw Fool's Paradise. I don't know, sometime last month. It's Charlie Day's
Oh,
directorial
that's right.
debut. I did not like this
Is
movie.
he in it?
He is the star.
You know I like Charlie Day.
I know you do. He's playing like this homeless person who's like a tramp in the classic sense of like Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton, where he's silent and he gets picked up off the streets by this obnoxious movie producer played by Ray Liotta and stuck on a movie set to be the star because he has a doppelganger. He looks like also Charlie Day playing this obnoxious star that's halted production on a film, and now the homeless version becomes this overnight sensation. I I did not like this movie.
Knights of the Zodiac.
Uh, so funny, I got an invite to cover the red carpet premiere, but they would not give out press screenings and did not have the links and did not have press screeners
Wait,
for
what
it.
does that mean? So you would have been on the red carpet interviewing people?
I don't. You cover the red carpet. Yeah, you can. Some press outlets cover red carpets,
Mm,
but mm,
that wouldn't appeal to
which
me.
I would have seen the film, but I had no interest in wasting my time this week because I had so much to do. But uh, it's directed by Tomas Baginski, and Famke Janssen is amongst the cast. But this looks like a terrible film.
Rally Road Racers,
Animated film directed by Ross Veneker came out this week. I don't know anything about it.
Crater,
Crater. This came out on Disney Plus. Did not watch it. It's directed. I think it looks like a YA sci-fi thing with Grace McKenna, Kyle Patrick Alvarez, who I've met. I know who that is. Uh, he did the Stanford Prison Experiment film, which was okay. And Cog with Jonathan Groff. And I remember, I think I like his first film best, an indie film called Easier with Practice. But I think he also did the second season of Homecoming with Janelle Monáe.
La Immensité,
L'Immensita,
L'Immensita,
Italian film directed by Emanuele Crialis, which was his first film in well over a decade. So I think hopes were high for this. I saw it in Venice last year in the competition. Penelope Cruz plays this abused, I think, 60s housewife who's doing what feels like a Sophia Loren impression. But she has a young trans child that is very close to her. And there are some interesting things about it. Ultimately, this wasn't a film I liked, and you didn't seem to want to watch it.
The Starling Girl,
I think I saw this out of Sundance. Laurel Parmet. It stars Eliza Scanlon and Lewis Pullman, son of Bill, who I happened to be trapped in some office where I saw Lewis was on KTLA hawking this film about a group of Christian fundamentalists and an affair.
lastly, still a Michael J. Fox movie.
Directed by Davis Guggenheim. Apple TV put out a doc about Michael J. Fox, which I'd be interested in watching. Didn't have time this week.
We need to take a break. All right, projects of interest. Night Boat to Tangier.
James Marsh has a new film that's lined up Ruth Negga, Domhnall Gleeson, and Michael Fassbender.
The Murderous Miss Highsmith.
Shailene Woodley's going to play the notable Patricia Highsmith, who was a lesbian, wrote the Talented Mr. Ripley series, of course. We just saw an adaptation of Ms. Highsmith's, is that last year, Deep Water with Ben Affleck.
Oh, I like that movie, I think.
And you've seen the original adaptation with Isabelle Huppert.
Oh, yeah. That was good, too.
Alexandra Peckman is making her directorial debut, but it will also star Cara Delevingne and Noémie Merlan.
Cleaner.
Martin Campbell, he keeps pooping stuff out here, but Daisy Ridley is leading his next film. We've reviewed a couple of his films, including The Protege with Maggie Q and Memory, I believe he directed with Liam Neeson recently.
Cleaner.
I just said that.
Flight Risk.
And also a Martin Campbell alum, Mel Gibson, directing his first movie since Hacksaw Ridge, which I did not like. I did not like Hacksaw Ridge, but he is directing a new movie with Mark Wahlberg. Two problems.
Beetlejuice 2.
Yeah, that was officially announced this week with a whole slew of cast members coming back. Willem Dafoe, I think, has announced that he's going to be in it. That's exciting. I'm curious.
Freaky Friday 2.
And apparently, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan are coming back for a new Freaky Friday movie.
Lord of War 2.
And Andrew Niccol is directing Nicolas Cage in Lord of War 2.
The Life of Chuck 2. No, The Life of Chuck.
Hello, Chuck. Mike Flanagan, who seems to be likes adapting Stephen King. He is directing another Stephen King adaptation, and this time it's going to star Tom Hiddleston and Mark Hamill.
The Monkey.
And another Stephen King and another one, Oz Perkins, who is the son of Anthony, and I think quite a talented film director. I think we both liked his last film, Gretel and Hansel.
Yes.
Which had a delicious Alice Kriege as the witch. He is directing Theo James in the adaptation of another Stephen King property.
Free Radicals.
And then, of course, my big deal new piece of news this week is a new Isabelle Huppert film. She is going to be in a thriller opposite Finn Wittrock. It's directed by Zia Magnus, who would be her second film, and I haven't seen her first film, but I will definitely be catching up on that before Free Radicals is released.
Movies we watch for fun. Sherazade.
Yeah, Jean Bernard Marlin's first film which was at Cannes 2018, I think in Critics Week, which I missed. It's on Netflix, but he's got a new film that sounds intriguing called Salem in Un Certain Regard. So I caught up with that this week.
And the eyes, the mouth. Wait, the
The
eyes, the mouth.
The eyes, it should be the eyes, comma, the mouth.
Oh,
1982 film from Marco Bellocchio, which I believe has some familial, semi-autobiographical references because he's reunited with Lou Castel at this point, who is the lead of his breakout Fists in the Pocket in the 60s. Plays a man who I believe is a film director whose twin kills himself, and then he gets involved with Angela Molina, who is his twin's lover, fiance, blah blah blah. Uh, the dubbing on this film does not work for me, but I do like Angela Molina. I think Bellocchio used a lot of clips from this film for his autobiographical documentary Marks Can Waits from a couple years ago. So I just caught up with that since I'll be watching a new Bellocchio in a couple days at Cannes.
all right. Moving on to our secret film. This is a first. It was your choice, and you chose the 1989 French horror film Baxter, which, from the description, sounded interesting. So, the description: a white bull terrier named Baxter is given to an elderly woman by her daughter. As time passes, the dog develops aggressive and murderous behavior in order to be adopted by another family. So I thought for sure this would be a fun watch.
I did too because it's listed. John Waters had it featured as the series he did on movies that will corrupt you. Is also going to be featured in the upcoming Bleak Week at the American Cinematheque. It was co-written by Jacques Audiard. This is before he was a director. Stars Lisa Delamere. She's the old lady. This is her last film. She played the mother of Lola Montez in the Max Ophuls film. So there's just a lot of very odd elements that I'd been wanting to watch this film.
But it turns out, first of all, the film is very serious and very dry. And about halfway through, I thought I can't talk like it just isn't something that feel like would be fun to talk about.
It's a disturbing. It is a bleak film,
It
and
is.
it is disturbing. It's actually based on an American novel from 1977, written by Ken Greenhall, called Hellhound, which makes me want to read that man's other works. But there were things that I liked. Because it's a bull terrier.
Well, here, let's quickly tell the
Okay.
story then. So Baxter gets adopted or given to this old woman, and the movie's narrated by Baxter the dog. And
Hmm.
he's quite intelligent, quite insightful, a little demented. But he does not like this old lady and tries to kill her. And his first attempt doesn't work. His second attempt does. But during this time, he becomes fixated on the neighbors across the street, a young couple. Particularly, he enjoys watching them have sex.
Hmm.
So when he kills the old lady by tripping her down the stairs, he runs across the street and that family ends up taking him in. And he really likes being there, but the demented part is that he just it's like he wants to be violent without reason. So this younger couple who has adopted him, they have a, a brand new baby, and Baxter tries to drown that baby, but the parents don't know that. Regardless, they give him away to a young boy, like maybe 12,
In the neighborhood.
in the neighborhood. And this young boy is a psychopath
Hmm.
and is obsessed with Hitler. So he's a problem. But Baxter the dog likes him because this boy is attentive and is also very like, he has like rules and boundaries, and Baxter seems compelled to want to obey. But we see this boy training Baxter to be like a killing machine.
Hmm.
During this time, Baxter gets a neighborhood dog pregnant, and that dog has babies. The babies belong to a girl who the boy likes, but everything culminates with because that boy's obsessed with Hitler and killing
He
things.
tells this little girl, he's like, "You look like Ava Braun."
Ugh,
She's like,
Hit,
"Who's that?"
Hitler's girlfriend for people who don't know. And that boy kills those puppies, and Baxter finds his children dead
Mhm.
and buried. So Baxter decides he's going to kill this boy. And they spend time in like this junkyard.
Mhm.
So it all goes down in this junkyard. But right as Baxter's about to kill the boy tells him, like, heal. And because Baxter is compelled to obey, he just sits there and lets the boy kill him.
Mhm.
So this is why it's bleak, because we see that these puppies are killed and then Baxter's killed. And the end of the film is that boy goes to the house that Baxter used to look out from
Mhm.
and sees the young couple. And it's implied that he will probably end up
Doing more violent
doing more
deeds.
violent deeds. It's bleak, it's dry. I mean, it was, the ending's upsetting, and it just didn't give me anything during the runtime to justify me feeling that way at the end.
Sure.
And I think the biggest problem is it's taking its. I mean, it's a drama, and Baxter, the way he's speaking is, it's not silly at all.
No.
And then the human characters are so like one
Well, I
dimensional.
think it's the humans that are dry. Um,
I had said that it felt like I was watching someone else like build a Sims world,
mhm.
and we're just watching them create humans, the kind of bebopping around. That's how these people felt.
Well, because 'cause they're all doing basic things. There's adultery going on, and I think the most interesting character is probably the old woman that starts to, kind of lose her mind after the first accident where she breaks her foot,
Because there's also an old man who's like trying to
woo her.
woo her, and she's not feeling that at all. The
But
film is broken into three parts just to get that out of the way. It's broken up into the humans, the happy days, which is when he gets sent to the young family, and then a human who likes me, which is the boy.
mhm.
But of course, that doesn't turn out in Baxter's favor. But go ahead.
No, I because the white bull terrier, that's the Target, the dog in the Target ads.
Yeah,
And
I believe
I
so.
always used to be like, "Oh, that dog looks creepy," but I found Baxter quite cute
I agree. I always found that type of dog to look like some sort of like
creature.
creature, but then Baxter is actually quite cute.
So I think I was probably more entertained by just watching this dog on camera, uh, and then the lady, as Lisa Delamere, as she's starting to lose her mind, starts bringing him in the bathroom with her, and she tries to shove him in the tub.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
Like, this dog is gonna kill you, lady, and he does.
Um,
There is a funny moment, because the teacher who gets killed, or no, the the man who died. There's a teacher whose dad died,
mhm.
and so we see the substitute teacher go into the classroom, and her line is, "Your teacher to the children in the classroom, your teacher won't be in," and she says it very flat. "Your teacher won't be in today. Her dad died. I'll be replacing her. Sit down."
That was actually a creepy moment because the daughter that is the teacher is the one that is having an affair with the psychopathic boy's dad.
This story is actually pretty complicated for what it amounts to. I didn't understand why we needed.
The characters are all related.
Yeah,
It's intricate. But the dad that dies, the old man, he's the one that's obsessed with Lisa Delamere, and he goes to her graveyard, and he has a vision of her, and she's speaking to him, and I thought that was a pretty creepy
that
scene
was.
because she's kind of lulling him into death. Um, so there are a lot of things. I think because like on IMDb, it's classified as a comedy.
There's nothing funny
I don't think
about
it's
it.
funny. I don't remember this dog in the movie Baby Blood, which I'm a fan of, but apparently he was in that.
The same dog actor, yeah. The man, the husband who's cheating,
Mhm.
I thought he was kind of handsome, and he reminded me of the actor who plays Pennywise.
Bill Skarsgård.
If you mix Bill Skarsgård with Kenneth Parcell from 30 Rock,
Oh God. Okay.
I thought he was handsome. Yeah, there are too many characters in this boring ass movie. We do see the puppies being delivered, which at first I was confused. Like, what am I looking at?
Mhm.
And then I realized I'm looking at a dog's vagina
Mhm.
with a head coming out. So that was kind of extreme,
Mhm.
because you have never seen this before.
Not really. No.
um, Oh God, the movie really should have been about. I think the better story would have been to simplify it to just have this psychopathic young boy take ownership of this sentient dog who's narrating, and then we get sort of the because I think the most interesting parts of the movie are when the dog is making observations about humans, like,
Mhm.
that's because he's inquisitive,
Mhm.
and I feel like watching this young boy, like this dog sort of learning about humans from this psychopathic kid who is atypical would have been really interesting.
Mhm.
But because the boy doesn't obey, there's a scene where like his mom is, or
I think his mom's selling Tupperware at
like
the
having a
house.
Tupperware party and the boy comes in and like gets mad and tears shit up. Yeah, like I just think it would have been interesting for a dog who's like built or designed to be obedient witness a human kid who's not, and then maybe that forces him to want to kill the kid, and he thinks he's doing like good.
Mhm.
It's like Superman good. But anyway, that's all I have to say about this movie. What would you give it?
I think 2.5.
I would give it 2 out of 5. I
Mhm.
didn't care for it. Yeah. But it's not a poorly made
It
movie.
looks great.
It looks great. If
Mhm.
you watch the trailer, no, that's for our next movie. Never mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just not what you would probably want. I can't imagine anyone watching this like, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted.
Mhm.
That's why I'm giving it 2 out of 5. But because we weren't in love with this movie, we decided at the last minute to select a new secret movie for today.
Well, you chastised me because you're like, "Why didn't you pick a Mother's Day film?"
Well, it didn't occur to me until after we watched Baxter that we should have picked a Mother's Day film.
Mhm.
So we chose the 1980 American rape and revenge slasher film titled Mother's Day,
Uh-huh. Which
uh,
I'd neither of us had ever seen.
or heard of.
I'd heard of it because
Oh, that's right.
I've seen there was a 2010 remake with Rebecca De Mornay that I remember going to the Chinese theater to see. It was right after we moved to LA, and I was the only one in that theater.
Well, so the plot for this movie, or the basic plot, two brothers kidnap and brutalize three women for the pleasure of their demented mother. The story's pretty simple.
Mm,
There is a woman, an old lady, who has two sons, and it's very Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
mhm.
and they end up kidnapping three women who are friends. And these three women are like best friends from college, and now they all live in different cities: LA, New York, Chicago. And they have this tradition every year of taking like a mystery trip. So they all
Mhm.
show up in one place and get in a car and just drive.
Notably, they're from a university called Wolf Breath College.
Wolf Breath College, and the town they end up going to is called Deep Barrens. But Deep Barrens is where this murderous family lives. So they get kidnapped there, and a good portion of the film is these women being held loosely captive,
Yeah.
because the problem is the family, the two brothers and the mom, are like Looney Tunes, like cartoonishly crazy.
I did not find them fun. No.
No, because they're too crazy. So they're so preoccupied with being crazy that they kind of forget that they have these three women.
Mhm.
Because throughout the film, we keep getting reminded by either the mother or one of the brothers, like, "Oh yeah, the girls are upstairs."
Mhm.
Like, yeah, you kidnapped the three women who are not like tied up very well. So of course they escape, but in the process, one of them dies just from her injuries, and the other two realize they can't really get out because they're so deep in the woods and they don't know where they're going. I mean, I don't know that they tried very hard to leave, they just
Mm,
kind of give up.
mhm.
But then once the one dies, the other two decide they need to get revenge. That's the only way they're going to get out of there. So they go back to the house and kill everyone. The end, except the mother of the murder, like of the murderous family, she keeps referencing something or someone named Queenie.
Mhm.
Shout out to Crooklyn.
Mhm.
Do you want to do the quote?
Queenie, I don't want to live without my baby.
Get Judy, Jody, whatever you name.
Queenie, where are you?
The funniest scene in a movie, I think, is from Crooklyn, where Aunt Song,
Mhm.
she can't find her little stupid fluffy
I
lap
think
dog
Pomeranian, and
Pomeranian,
it's stuck in the
and it's
fold-out
stuck in like
couch.
a fold-out couch. So when she folds out the couch to let her like nieces and
It
friends, the the dog like shoots out.
it sproings out of there.
And
And
on song is like,
she goes,
oh
"Oh,
no.
no!"
Check it. Check it. Look up on YouTube funniest scene in a movie, Crooklyn. You'll know what it is. But anyway, we keep hearing about this person named Queenie, and it's uh we find out like a family member of the mom who is like a psychopath,
Of course.
and the lore is that the grandma killed this child
Mhm.
so that she wouldn't do any harm. But the mom is convinced that Queenie is still alive, even though the grandma says that I killed her and I chopped off her ear, and she gave the ear as proof. So they have Queenie's ear in a box. But the final, and the sons believe that the mom is saying Queenie's alive as a tactic to keep them in the house because
Mhm.
she says, you can't leave me because you have to protect me. And they think she's lying. But the final scene of the movie, when the two women kill everyone and they looks like they're going to escape, then Queenie jumps out of the bushes.
Mhm.
This was the film that I was saying, if you watch the trailer, you would think this is like a Hot Mess Express, super
Mhm.
low quality. Actually, the movie is pretty well put together and it
Mhm.
looks pretty good. We watched it on A&E.
The trailer though gives away the shock ending.
The trailer gives away everything,
Yeah.
including the shock ending, because the movie was like we had 2 minutes left and we're like, where's Queenie? Where's this
Mhm.
person who jumps out the bushes? Oh, that's Queenie.
And the narrator of the trailer also is like, for those who know how to celebrate, every day is Mother's Day. Uh,
Here, let's take a break on that. All right, so Mother's Day, did you love it?
no, I couldn't stand it actually. Beatrice Pons plays Mother, who is probably best known for being in the TV series Car 54. Where are you? Um, the thing about Queenie, which I guess is the most interesting part, in even by 1980 standards, I think that this plot is derivative.
Yeah, it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets I Spit on Your Grave.
Yes, and
Yeah.
also these three women getting together who I couldn't stand. I think they're terrible characters. It reminded me of that Anna Kendrick film, Alice Darling, where she's kind of the
Oh,
abuse.
being abused.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because one of them is kind of being taken advantage of, at least.
Well, let's talk about that. So the three women, I don't understand why they're painted as like obnoxious and annoying because we get a scene when they arrive and like when they stop at a gas station,
Like Hills Have
like
Eyes.
Hills, like every movie like this,
Mhm.
and they go to a gas station and they're being awful, like they're like knocking shit over and they don't care. And then one of them tells the clerk, we're going to Deep Barrens, and he's like, don't you go over there.
Mhm.
And then they
It's
continue
Camp Blood.
and they keep wrecking his store. So then, as they're driving off and they're hooting and hollering, acting like they don't give a shit that they tore up his store, he's like, well, that's basically why you're going to die in Deep Barrens.
Mhm.
So I guess I don't understand why it was important to make these women unlikable because, like you just mentioned, one of them we see is not necessarily being abused, but we see that her boyfriend is taking advantage of her.
Mhm.
So it's like, well, I'm not really sympathetic towards her because she's kind of awful.
Well, and also, why are they making them act like they're not teenagers anymore? They're
And
not in
these are
college.
whole ass adult
Yeah,
women too. And one of them looks real grown. It's like, why are you acting like
right.
this? Like college girls. I mean, I know that they met in college, but it's annoying combined with the bad guys, the mom and the two sons. I mean, it's first of all, so the mom is done up like
I mean, she's creepy.
Gone in the Wind or
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind. Gone with the Wind, fabulous. And then her accent is like Colonel Sanders. It's very
Mhm.
country fried, but then it's not consistent.
Mhm.
Sometimes she sounds British or no accent at all, meaning like American.
Like Madonna.
Yeah, sometimes she sounds like Madonna, sometimes she sounds like Colonel Sanders. Then her sons don't have the same accent. So one of the boys whose dentitia looks like
They colored it with crayons, but
it looks like if you buy like the wax teeth, those
Mhm.
big or like if you bought like horse teeth and then
Mhm.
colored them with gray crayons, including the gums, that's what his teeth look like. He talks like if Arnold Schwarzenegger were from Brooklyn,
God.
and he looks messed up. And then he has like box blonde hair that's like orange.
Mhm. He has orange hair.
He looks terrible. And then the other brother
Sun-kissed hair.
is kind of attractive, and he looks
Mm.
like he would be from like, and he sounds like he might be from like Silver Lake.
Mhm.
I mean, he's attractive compared to the other one. So these three don't match. And then they're just so crazy. The film opens with the mom at a like seminar,
She's at a seminar. It's called EGO, which is an acronym for whoever the speaker is, Ernie's Growth
growth
Opportunity.
opportunity. It's like some ceremony, and she's there and she spots a young, attractive couple and she
Attractive.
offers, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that's what they're trying to be.
I mean, the young woman looks like if Lady Gaga was the 50-year-old bar back.
Oh God. Anyway, the mother offers to give them a ride home, and then she pretends her car breaks down, and then all of a sudden her sons come out of the woods and decapitate the boyfriend and brutally rape the woman in front of their mother.
Of course, yeah.
And so that's a pretty extreme
Very,
opening.
very Titus
But
Andronicus.
I was confused about it because that's a pretty intricate little staging they executed.
Mm-hmm.
But then halfway through the film, we get this extended scene, which adds to the Looney Tune quality of it that was annoying, where the mom is training her sons how to kill.
But they've already been doing that.
But they already been killed two people in a very sort of elaborate, tight way.
They've finished basic training, Ma.
They're already done with training, but then we see them training later, and they're like acting like they don't even know how to hold a knife, and they're stumbling over each other. That was stupid. I feel like if anything, that should have been the opening of the film,
Mm-hmm.
but not so obvious, like that they're being trained to kill. But
And then Queenie seems like that. It's like Lucky McKee's The Woman, where there's an extra gruesome surprise lurking in the barn with that thing without the
and all she
eyeballs.
did was look like she was wearing
She looked like she
what's
was
the character from Star Wars that's like furry?
Chewbacca.
She looked like she was wearing a Chewbacca onesie
She did.
when she jumped out of the bushes.
But again, fashion, and they do this close up on the face, but it's still so blurry you can't see shit.
Yeah, it was dumb.
But yeah, if you haven't, you probably might get a kick out of the Rebecca De Mornay version. But besides her being a beautiful, evil thing, I didn't like that film either.
I have a few notes. Before the women leave to go on their trip, one of them, her doorman is this black man, and he is real combative.
She
like,
says, "Have a nice weekend,"
and he's basically like, "I'll never be free as long as I'm black in America."
he runs out screaming in the
Yes.
street, "I will never have a free weekend."
But I thought that was funny because I thought that actor, or that the drag queen, the vixen, looked exactly like that actor.
Mad.
Okay, when the three friends meet for their mystery vacation, we see them in their respective cities, and then we cut to a scene where the three of them are on the side of the road getting into a rental car. We skip the entire process of how they do this.
And who's the blonde one that apparently lives in luxury and having this backyard pool party that looks
in Beverly Hills,
but it looks like I would run away screaming from. But the amount of coke that is being done there,
oh yeah.
But no, she gets a call, and then
her butler's walking around wearing like a tuxedo with no shirt and like underwear on. He looked crazy.
It looked crazy, but he comes to say like, you got a telegram, and that's announcing that they're having their mystery meet and greet. And she runs screaming. She runs through that party like she couldn't be done with it faster.
These ladies play too much. Before they get kidnapped, they pretend like they just play too much.
One pretends to get stabbed in the back the way nobody does.
One pretends to like be someone who grabs them out of the bushes. It's like, this is so stupid considering that they're about to be kidnapped and like by some
three women
murderers.
in the wilderness. I don't know that the women play like that. I don't know.
Okay, I do have to give it up to the filmmaker. Included a lot of little funny details in the film. Like, there's a lot of attention to detail that you wouldn't expect from such a stupid movie. For example, there's a scene where the brothers are eating breakfast, and they basically have like this buffet of trash in front of them.
God.
And they're eating out of these like slop buckets. So they mix like cat food with cereal and lotion and eat it like cereal. And then they have like all this,
like raccoons.
All this, yeah, basically. But I thought, I mean, whoever set that up, I mean, there's a lot of detail in it.
Well, the devil's in the details.
I thought what would have been interesting, because again, first of all, it's called Mother's Day, and the film is not really about a mother
or her day.
It's not even a day. It's about these three women. So I think that's the first mistake. This shouldn't be called Mother's Day. But I think the film should have revolved around these three women who are kind of like, if we want to take the route of them being unlikable, what if these three women were kidnapped by these men and then somehow they appeal to them, and then maybe so that the murderers like are lulled into a sense of safety with these women, like they can be more relaxed with them.
Mhm.
And then we find out that these women, maybe the gag is that they're not as innocent as they seem,
Mhm.
you know, and maybe they kill these men. And I don't know. I feel like there's a lot that could be done with just this, like, because I'm just so bothered by the fact that I was like, these women were so unlikable
I'm like, I also need a better motive for why a mother wants her son to kidnap women,
and
uh,
rape them.
and rape
Yeah,
them.
there was no sense of why that
I
needed to happen.
I get to, or at least a sense of why the mother thinks that needs to
At
happen.
least in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they were sort of like, I mean, they used it for meat for their chili,
Mhm.
and then they seemed to take people who trespassed. So it kind of, I mean, not that it makes sense, but it definitely has more reason to it than these fools.
Mhm.
Um,
But yeah, I didn't enjoy it.
there is a pretty gruesome scene where one of the girls is trying to lower another one out of the house they're being kept
Mhm.
captive in, and she's in like a sleeping bag, and so the lady's trying to like slowly lower her by holding a rope. But then all of a sudden the killers walk by, so she has to like hold her
Mhm.
friend. But it's hard, right? Because
Mhm.
she's like a smallish lady trying to pull 100 some pounds. So we see the rope tearing into her hand.
Mhm.
I could see that being done, because in this movie it's not, the practical effects are pretty bad,
Mhm.
but I could see it being remade and like being really gruesome. So that was interesting. So then when the ladies finally escape, they can't find their one friend, but then they stumble upon her. The killers have shoved this lady in a drawer.
Mhm.
And they grab her out, but and then like have to carry her out into the woods, and then they have to lay her somewhere and camouflage
They
her.
cover her with branches.
They basically cover her with branches and some leaves, like no one's gonna see it. I was also confused. How far did they get that the bad guys couldn't find them?
I see, there's a lot of things that don't make
It
sense.
doesn't make sense. And then the bad guy has a police car.
Yeah,
So that's how he lures them out, is that he's driving this police car with the lights flashing so they feel like, oh, they're safe.
they are out in the middle of nowhere. There's no way a policeman is out there. But he he steps out of the car dressed in police garb, and the woman hugs him, and then he starts like grabbing on her.
So the mom, there is a funny scene where, because her teeth are bad too, not as bad as her one son's, but there's a scene where she's flossing her teeth like
Yeah.
violently while a dental commercial plays.
Mm-hmm.
But the cuter brother gets killed by getting, you know, the part of the hammer that like pulls out the nail.
Mm-hmm.
He gets hit like in the genitals with it. So that's what kills him. But the older brother, it takes a lot to kill him, because they make him eat Drano.
Yep.
Then they take a TV, like a TV that's plugged in,
Mm-hmm.
and like like jam it into his head, so
Mm-hmm.
he's like electrocuted.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't kill him. So then they end up stabbing him with a motorized knife, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what kills him. And then they kill the mom by suffocating her with what looks like blow up breasts.
Yeah, like a breast pillow,
It's like
like
a breast pillow,
translucent.
but it's like plastic.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't sleep on it.
But they shove it over her face.
They suffocate her with the areola.
You could rest between the breasts, I think. You,
You think, but wouldn't you be sweaty with the plastic?
I don't know, maybe a day rest, a
Did you ever
nap.
sleep on plastic sheets?
No.
No, I did once, and yeah, you sweat.
Yeah, no.
I don't know that. Anyway, that was an interesting accessory, a breast shaped pillow.
That this family had.
My final note.
Shopping a Hot Topic.
My final note is when the two ladies decide that they're going to go get revenge now that their one friend is dead. The one says, "We were meant to survive." Oh, so fuck your friend.
Right.
Like,
Right. I thought that too. Like,
these
okay.
bitches are vile. I did not like this
Did
movie.
you just call your friend weak?
Yeah.
Because she dared to die? Okay.
What would you give this movie?
One, this was not fun to me, but also was very stressed out last night.
Well, I could see the same people who are really into like Terrifier, like the first Terrifier, like
Mm-hmm.
slasher, like kind of. I could see people liking it. I thought it was a little tedious.
It is.
I don't know a circumstance under which I would really enjoy it, so I would give it 1.5 out of 5. But that's all. We need to get going. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, nope.
So we'll do the podcast while you're in Cannes via Zoom, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do have like 4 videos dropping this coming week.
Mm-hmm.
We might be thin the following week, though.
There's a couple things if you
Oh, I might review Fast X and The Little Mermaid by myself. Maybe.
And I think we could probably fit in a Zoom review of Reality, I think.
All right. Well, that's all I have.
And Kandahar, maybe.
All done?
Sure.
Ta-ta.